Welcome everybody, happy Monday. So this is our webinar that is going to kind of comprise everything and talk about what's going to happen next. Where are we going from here? How are we going to really implement this and move forward? So buckle your seatbelts, here we go. In this webinar, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about going vegan and staying vegan. We're going to talk about some of the pitfalls, payoffs, and what is to come. Please, I'd love to ask you guys if you can eliminate any distractions, closing tabs and gadgets and gizmos. There was a lot of vegan meat in this presentation, and I want you to get the most out of it. I worked hard on it, and I'm not saying I want you to listen to this. I'm saying I want you to get a lot out of this because there's a lot of good data and imagery, and there's good information in here. So please, if you can, just kind of close everything in the outside chatter and plug in. It's worth it. It'll be 25 minutes that you'll appreciate plugging into. And please take a deep breath. I'm going to do the same. We don't do that enough. You're in the exact place you're supposed to be. Congratulations. Probably you want to take this vegan thing home all the way, but maybe it still seems a little bit daunting to incorporate it into all aspects of life. And maybe you learned something in these past 5 days from last week, but in your city, town, family, fill in the blank, it may not look like our challenge group looks. And look, there are a lot of lofty reasons to go vegan, but it still seems difficult maybe to fully implement. And maybe you'd rather just log off this whole webinar and go eat a burger. And I can understand that. But if you look at that picture, that's actually a vegan Impossible Burger. Is that amazing? That bloody thing. All right, so it does require a tad of rewiring, okay? But going vegan supposedly means you're sacrificing the taste. It's going to be more expensive. You're going to make life inconvenient, and you're not even making a difference anyway, so who cares? This new way of eating means going against the grain from how our parents raised us and their parents before us, and it means charting a bit of a new course. And it sounds scary, certainly at the beginning. Uncharted and seemingly really tough to pull off. Day in and day out. I like this Lisa Simpson here. When there are no vegan options, you just have disappointment for dinner. That's fine. No, it's not fine. We're going to talk about what we eat instead. However, it doesn't have to be hard. At the end of this webinar, you're going to understand the most compelling reasons for going and staying vegan, more tangible ways about making vegan doable and delicious, the larger effects of this lifestyle, and a special something I've been cooking up to make this process as easy as I can envision it for you going into 2019. So here we go. What to expect. Why is this so important? How to eat more of the good stuff. How to veganize some of the bad stuff. And how to best fuel the mind, body, and take this inspiration to the streets, or at least to the kitchen. I like this image here. Every bite you take is either fighting disease or feeding it. Now, if you notice here in the feeding it, there are some French fries and some buns and some dough, and there's vegan food that's feeding disease also. So we have to know the right stuff from the not so right stuff and really mitigate, or at least majorly minimize the not so good stuff, even if it is vegan. There's a way to obviously be vegan and healthy and vegan and not so healthy. So we'll discuss that a little bit today and more going forward. So I want to share with you a little bit of my personal tale, which I hadn't gone so much into this past week, but I think it's germane to this whole subject, and I just want to share with you guys how I got here. I was 25 years old, and I had a bit of a weight problem. I was never like obese, but I had a lot more pounds on me than I needed, and I wasn't super happy in my life. I wasn't happy in my love life. I ate a lot to make up for that. I actually used to say, if I didn't have someone to make out with, I was going to find something to snack out with. I actually said that. Is that scary? And I'm going to show you on the next slide right now what I used to look like. So this was me, and I wasn't pregnant here. How I wish I could have had a talk with that girl. Okay, that's one, and it actually gets worse on the next slide. Yeah. So beyond the obvious weight issue, I was very often sick. I was not sleeping great. In fact, I was on Ambien for 5 years straight. I was taking Ambien every single night to get to sleep. Because, you know, when you're putting bad stuff in your body isn't in like a calm physical state. So like get good rest. That's one of the problems. And I didn't feel good about myself in general, physically, emotionally, or any of this. And my poor taste in eyewear was not helping things. You see those glasses? Crazy. Okay. But one day I started seeing the videos. You know the videos I'm talking about, right? It only takes one vocal friend. We talked about this on Thursday or Friday. And it took months for me to download this information in my psyche. And I was crying alone at my computer screen to the horrors of everyday factory farming. Even on the supposed grass-fed, happy cow situations, as happy as a happy cow could possibly be, nonetheless, when it goes into that slaughterhouse, you see that picture right there. That's one of billions and billions of sweet cows and that final moment, how scared and terrifying, and how that goes into all the organs and systems of that cow's body and all these animals' bodies. But I felt obligated to watch, and I still feel obligated to watch, even now that I'm well into the vegan game, because I know that this one video represents millions or billions of times of this same harrowing thing happening without the cameras rolling. I love this Paul McCartney line, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegetarian. And it's so true, but you know what does have glass walls is YouTube. And the truth, these undercover investigations, these brave people that are going in on the front lines and exposing what's happening, all this truth is coming to the surface more and more now. So yeah, that really got me. But that wasn't the real clincher. The real clincher for me was that they're all sweethearts. As much as you ever loved your dog, it's my little Monty, your cat, your bird, anything, so too could you love any farm animal. They all want belly rubs. They all want their moms at the beginning. They will all snuggle with a human, chase a ball, know their name. In fact, pigs are even more intelligent than dogs. They can remember up to 150 words. I think the smartest dogs can remember up to 50 words. So these animals are just, they're really sweethearts. I remember seeing a TED Talk a while back on like vegetarianism, not veganism, and they started off with a picture of a nice slice of lasagna. And the woman says, what if I told you that in that slice of lasagna, it was made with Labrador meat? And the whole audience was aghast, and I think that made a lot of connections for people. It made a very compelling talk that she gave. And then if you guys subscribe to Dodo videos, you'll regularly see just all the sweetness in these animals, even when they've been abused and left on the street and all the rest, like with a little love. They're all sweethearts. They all want to be loved just like we do. One more thing on those sweethearts, they form close relationships with other, in this case, cows. They get excited when they solve problems, and they're extremely curious and inquisitive. And by the way, this goes for all other animals as well. I've seen videos, saw a video with a little girl, a 2-year-old child in Asia with a chicken sitting on her lap, and she's petting it and squeezing into it, and that chicken was hugging into her just as much. I've even seen this with crocodiles, with like a very brave and loving human giving it pets and belly rubs and swimming around with a crocodile. And I've even seen a video with a fish where a guy is in a lake and he's actually like kind of like petting this fish, and the fish goes and swims off and circles right back to the guy to get more pets. Animals, they want affection just like we do, and they're all sweethearts. So this for me is when everything started to change. I started slowly, and I emphasize the word slowly, becoming vegetarian, followed by vegan, and I started losing weight, and I started getting a lot healthier, and I stopped taking sleeping pills, and I started feeling happier about both myself and my body, and I started studying more spirituality because I was more open to the truths of the world, and I wasn't like I wasn't creating a lobotomy between what I was consuming and what was really happening. And I was open to connecting more dots then. And I find that this diet helps open people's empathy and compassion and willingness to bring more truths together, to integrate more truths in their life. And that was what was happening for me. I like this image here. My body is a garden, not a graveyard. So this is what I started looking like after the garden scene. On the left there, not pregnant, having not even had kids yet. And then on the right, after 2 children. Now, in all honesty, I've got like a blow dry and I'm in high heels and all the rest. So this is more realistic. If I'm being completely honest with you, this is the scene. There's no blow dry in sight. I'm wondering why am I being photographed? I think by my older kid. Willow is taking a picture of me there to my chagrin. And yeah, to be totally transparent, there are some visibly dirty feet going on there. But the bottom line is that I've lost a lot of weight and I am a lot happier at this point. Maybe not being photographed, but in general. So let's dive in. What happens when you go vegan? What actually happens to your body, your headspace, to the world. Let's go into this for a few minutes. I like these people here in this image. I hope they're eating vegan food. I don't know for sure, but I think this symbolizes a little bit of what happens. We're talking about in physical health, just in terms of the physical health. Immunity, tremendous immunity eating this way. Longevity, it's been said 7 to 10 years at least longer than anyone else, than their meat-eating counterparts. Energy, you will find that out if you haven't already. Heart health, instances of cardiovascular disease tremendously plummeting. Weight loss, as you just saw. Lowering the risk of getting cancer by 70 or so percent. A little bit more on that later in this webinar. Increasing fertility. Sperm cannot survive in an acidic environment. Acidic foods are like meat and dairy are acid-inducing foods. So even if you don't want to get pregnant, fertility and vitality, that's sort of what we're speaking of, to have an alkaline-rich environment, which are all of the vegan plant-based foods. Lowering blood sugar, increasing kidney function, overall gut health, and skin quality. I don't know if you guys have learned about blue zones, but this is so interesting. There are these 5 cities scattered throughout the world: California, Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, and Japan. These cities are located, and they're considered longevity hotspots. They're known as blue zones, and they have 4 things in common. It's either a completely vegan diet, or just once or twice over the course of the month are they eating something animal-based, but almost totally vegan. They're moving around naturally. We spoke about that, how walking and just light exercise is kind of really all you need. You don't have to kill your body in order to stay in good shape. Having the right outlook, talked about, food and mood and the idea of some spirituality, having some higher purpose, and having the right tribe, having some good humans around you. Okay, these are the 4 things that these blue zone folks have in common, and they are living 10 to 15 years longer than their counterparts in their neighboring cities. It's really fascinating, this whole study of blue zones. There have been books written on this, and it's really an amazing thing. All right, let's just dig into the environment for a couple quick minutes here. Going vegan is the single best thing any individual can do for the planet. Deforestation is happening at such an intense rate. It says here 91% of Amazon destruction. I've read in other places 95%. This is considered the breath of life for Earth, the Amazon rainforest, which is almost completely gone because of plowing of the earth and using it to grow seed so that we can feed our cows. One hamburger here, it's saying 660 gallons of water. I've also read 2 weeks of showers for one hamburger. If you look at some of the waste, so the same waste from 2,500 dairy cows, the same amount from 2,500 dairy cows is over 400,000 people in a city. So this is what we're looking at here. A little more environmental by going plant-based. We're bringing down the croplands by 90%. The amount of land mass that you need to grow the food to feed the cows comes down tremendously when you grow the seed and food to feed the people. The greenhouse gas emissions down by almost completely, down 96%. Fertilizer, 94%. Here's something kind of funny, but also sad, a little snarky environmentalism. So y'all will stop using straws to save fish, but won't stop eating fish to save fish? True, right? And sad, right? Okay, so let's dig in for a couple minutes on mental health, because this is so staggering and fascinating, and it's just so amazing how this one diet can hit so many different touch points here. So eating of the plant kingdom means helping your mood, your awareness, your ethics, your feeling of contributing something to this world, you're being a trailblazer. And more on this. This is kind of where like the magic happens, because this diet extends to all aspects of life and really how you walk through the world. So if you take a look at that chart at the top there, it's showing that there's like a plant-based, group and then a control group. Talk about physical functioning and the emotional, functioning, fatigue, and all of the points of improvements. The green bars there are all the points of improvement. Pain, general health, depression, anxiety, all of this. Food and mood, using the food to fuel yourself, to be more productive, to see more beauty in the world, to see more beauty in yourself, while refining the things that we put into our mouth the hope, the idea is to also refine the things that come out, not speaking badly about people, using your words to build and not to destroy. This is an amazing hack at finding happiness everywhere. We're going to talk about this more. Good mood food. I like that image. So if this is all so true and compelling, why is any of this controversial? Why doesn't everybody just understand this immediately? And why isn't this completely widespread amongst everyone? So there are a few reasons, and they're all very unfortunate. One of them is that people don't want to reckon with the idea that they've been funding the business of killing animals every single day. We don't want to think that we're doing that. Also, health organizations, they refuse to promote a vegan diet because there are these tremendous moneyed interests going from the diet to the disease. Food and drug companies make their profits on this status quo consumption. And the $100 million answer happens to do with all of these funders. So this comes from the film What the Health. If you look at all of these different health organizations, quote-unquote health organizations, the American Diabetes Association, the American Cancer Association, the American Heart Association, they're all funded by big meat and dairy food companies. Okay, that's where they get their money from. So they can't come out and say to us, eat this way, eat plant-based, eat a little less meat. They can't say any of that. So this is why everything's kind of remaining the same out there, because there's a lot of money in us eating these bad foods and getting sick off of them. Okay, let's talk for a minute about diet and disease. I went to a conference this past February with a panel of vegan doctors, very esteemed physicians. And what they said something very interesting. Is the biggest takeaway that I had, which is that most people believe that they have a genetic predisposition, meaning if their father had diabetes and their grandfather before him had diabetes, that they're basically like signed up to get diabetes. Truth is, none of our genes are predisposed for anything. The only predisposition is lifestyle. So if your grandfather ate meat and all this stuff, and your father ate the same, you're probably going to be eating that. If your grandmother was heavy set and didn't move around very much and didn't take care of her physical well-being, maybe your mother or father, and that's probably where you're at in terms of your physical activity. So that's really what the predisposition is. It's not about what's in the genetics, it's about what's in the lifestyle. So if we change our lifestyle, we change our genes. It's very powerful. This image is very powerful, and there's a lot of amazing science to back this up, which is that anyone who has cancer has an acidic pH. Meat and dairy raise acidity levels. We talked about that, how sperm cannot survive in an acidic-rich environment. But cancer cannot survive in an alkaline, oxygen-rich environment. If you Google alkaline foods, it's all the foods we eat. There's an amazing book called The China Study. If you haven't read, I'm going to share with you a big piece of the puzzle of this book, a big chapter. It's called Diseases of Affluence. And it basically summarizes that the affluent countries that take in grains and seeds that are grown in poor parts of the world, we bring to feed our cows. And once we eat those cows and the chickens and everything else, that this is when the diseases, heart disease, obesity, diabetes winds up coming, a lot of the cancers. So this book is very compelling. It goes into tons of studies, tons of, science-backed, doctors in on writing this book. You see the PhD and an MD here. I have the book on my shelf, but one of the real cruxes of it has to do with the fact that these rich countries are getting the brunt of the actual healthfulness that we see in some of the other parts of the world. Let's look on the bright side, you guys, because there are 18,000, it's not an insane number, edible plants that grow from the soil, from the earth for free. Fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, nuts, herbs, food that is alive, colorful, vibrant, literal medicine, okay? When my kids get colds, which happens like a fifth of the time that it used to happen and lasts for an eighth of the time of the duration that it used to last, I will literally cut up fruits and veggies and I will say, take your medicine. This food is medicine. And we just need to figure out the right ways to chop it, and roast it, and fry it, and whatever, and do whatever we want with it, and chill it, and assemble it so that we can make it delicious. But this is all we need. I like that avocado picture with the earth. What do you guys think of that? Okay, starting to come to the end here. Everything your body and our world needs, okay? Protein, fiber, healthy fats, B12, etc. A lot of vegans take B12, and if you think you need to and you do, that's perfectly fine. I actually went and got my blood drawn just a month ago, and I was totally certain that they were going to say, yeah, you're going to need to take that B12 supplement. They said your B12 is fine. They said everything is perfect. Your numbers are beautiful. So you can get everything out of this plant kingdom. People think, you know, the whole myth about protein, that you need the animal for the protein. Turns out all the protein comes from the plants. After the animal digests it, then it's within its flesh there, but we can cut out the middleman and keep the middleman safe and just go straight for the produce. Eating of the plant kingdom makes for the healthiest, lean, vivacious humans, happy animals, and a peaceful planet. It may sound grandiose, but it is very tangible. I like this image too, vegan, because if there are non-violent options, why wouldn't I choose them? These attractive humans are in the game. Whatever, a point of interest. You might know some of these faces. And these sexy people. I like that this is part of my job description now, looking up handsome, hunky men like this. On the upper left there, that's one in the helmet of the Tennessee Titans. That's one of 10 team members that just recently went vegan in the NFL. Cool. All these bodybuilders. I told my husband, yeah, this is part of my work now. I have to look up these hunky guys. This is what I have to do. Somebody's got to do it, right? All right, you may be saying, okay, that's fine. Famous people are doing it. The numbers are rising, but it's still so foreign to everybody that I know. Like, my neighborhood doesn't look like this. Well, guess what? That is rapidly changing. Veganism grew, I've seen stats of 400 and I've seen stats of 500, somewhere in that range, percent between 2014 and 2017. What else grows 400%? This is in the United States alone. Veganism is going mainstream. A couple like little numbers there. 10% of millennials are either identifying as vegan or vegetarian. I've actually read that that's 10 to 12%. 36% of Americans are now consuming meat and dairy alternatives. That's over a third of the country. And 250% increase in the number of searches for vegan on Google. How cool is that? Okay, and we're hitting all corners of the earth. Just in this little tiny group challenge that we did, just alone, and of the people who listed their locations, okay, because like I'd say 80–90% of people did not have their locations up. This is just a handful of the people in our group. Michigan, North Carolina, Utah, Florida, New York, California, Georgia, Texas, and then internationally, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Belfast, Israel, Spain, Luxembourg, and more. So cool, right? This is just our little tiny challenge of the people that had their places listed. Steps and strategies. Number one advice, baby steps. Please, you guys, baby steps. Don't dive in 100%. I mean, you can, but if you really want to make something stick, it's good to go at it gradually. That's my personal advice. That's how I did it. Subscribe to the stuff that's going to encourage the eating well and the inspiration so that the right content is coming at you. So if you don't already subscribe to Mercy for Animals, jot that down. Don't do it right this second, but on Facebook or on Instagram, subscribe to Mercy for Animals. They send out excellent content. Every now and then it'll be like an undercover investigation that may be hard to watch, but they also will put out 10 new recipes for your Thanksgiving dinner table and other seasonal important stuff and other chefs to follow. Keep a well-stocked fridge and pantry. You know, a lot of these foods that we talk about, they don't need to be, you know, meat and dairy need to be like refrigerated immediately. But like all the food that we're talking about here, it doesn't need to be like refrigerated and it doesn't go bad in 4 days. It's like it comes from the earth. It's good for a while. So certainly if it's a packaged item, get 2 of them. Have yourself, just know that you're set up so that you're ready to eat the right foods. And then try new recipes. Listen, I'm a bit of a vegan chef. You know, I put out a new vegan recipe every week. And I must tell you, it's much easier for me. I'm a mom, I'm busy, we're all busy, right? To go and just cook something that you already know. But I push myself at least twice a week. And I'd like to recommend for you at least once a week to try and cook something new. I know it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to have to read the details and read the fine print and follow a new recipe. And there's something you have to kind of get yourself, you know, set up to do that. You know, I'm not ready to do that every night, but once a week, try and do that because it helps to really expand your repertoire. cooking is a bit of a meditation, and it expands what's hitting your palate and those around you, and it changes the game, and it shows it'll show you in every way how diverse and how delicious all of this can be. Trying new recipes at least once a week, searching out new restaurants. On Friday we talked about the app Happy Cow for $2.99. Download that on your phone. It'll show you vegan, vegetarian restaurants within any range of your house or wherever you'll be visiting. And visit a sanctuary, another little tiny strategy to help kind of hone in this message and remember why we're doing this. If you Google animal sanctuaries near me, you may be surprised to find that there are a number of them or one of them, and you can go and you can see. We have one near us where like a bunch of dairy cows that were, impregnated and the baby's taken away and milked, and then and before they were sold for cheap beef, this amazing sanctuary, got them and has them, and you can feed them and brush them a little bit, and it's such a lovely thing, especially if you have children, and even for yourself, to be able to go and connect with the animals that you're helping save every day by eating this way. All right, moving on. Eating this way full-time and the next frontier. So we didn't speak about this so much in this challenge, but another frontier is touching on clothing. I sent an email out a little bit on this today. Furniture, where they're able to sneak animals and feathers and wool into all the time. And then medical and beauty products. To start being a little bit more cognizant of like what contains animals, what was tested on animals, and trying to avoid that stuff. That's easier, I think, than dealing with the food. It's easier to get a new makeup line than it is to get a new dietary, source. And then sharing the love, becoming an activist, even if it's in a quiet way where you just push out an article every now and then. But however vocal you feel comfortable, try and grow with that a little bit. All right, you guys, why did you show up today? Maybe this challenge was great, but it's still a lot to digest. We had 5 days, and every day there was a big email with multiple links, and I came on live every day, and it was very intense. Maybe it seems a little daunting to go at it alone out there when I say goodbye to you today. And then to consider every meal, every outing, every gathering, and all these holiday parties to come. How are you going to veganize all of that? And how do we make this work quickly? So I'm going to give you guys a couple options. One is, we'll say goodbye, and I always want to be a resource to you no matter what, so you can always feel free to email me. But in general, you're going to take these next steps alone with whatever you've gotten this past week, or I've been developing a program for the next leg of what I hope is going to be a great adventure where I can hold your hand more through the coming stages. I want to speak with you a little bit about that now. So I'm introducing the 90-day Vegan Reboot. This is a more elaborate clean out of our food, mood, headspace to go into 2019 like a new person. And I like this quote: "Do something today that your future self will thank you for." So here's what it entails. I've been cooking this up. I'm really hustling to figure out a way to hold your hand to go forward to bring 2019 in an amazing way. So it's a 3-month program. We're going to start it Monday of next week. It's going to be a lot of what we did over the 5 days, but more of that and sparsed out over a longer period of time to really help it all sink in. So we're going to start Monday, October 29th, and we're going to officially wrap on January 29th, but we're going to do a little final celebration on January 30th, which happens to be my birthday. It worked out that way. So every week you're going to get 2 brand new recipes, which is going to be aimed at cooking efficiently and deliciously, that have been tried and tested by my family. There's always going to be at least one entree and at least one other thing. It'll be either like a side dish, a breakfast item, a dessert thing, because by the end of this, I want to have a full compilation, and you will get a document with all of these compiled, where you'll have a really nice, meaty list of lots of good new recipes. We'll have a new private Facebook group where I'll be posting information, inspiration, and I'll be going live every Monday and Thursday. We're going to have private digital logs of the tracking journals. If you want to participate in this, I highly recommend it, where through a Google Doc, you'll be able to submit them whenever you want, the tracking journals, privately to me, so that I can help you to be eating better, living better, healthier, happier, and all of this. And then also optional, I highly recommend accountability partners. I'll be pairing you guys up with someone who's similarly focused. If it's getting protein, if it's weight loss, whatever your goal is in this, I'm going to be giving you guys a small questionnaire so I can get better feedback on what your goal is for this 90-day program. Because accountability, it's been studied, is like the #1 thing to really help things stick. They've found that that it's you're 95% more effective to actually get something done if you're being held accountable for it. So I think this accountability is very important, more than just being sent out aimless information. Actually have someone there, me there, saying, how's it going, what's up, how are we growing with this? So that's my hope for this. And the guarantee is, if you got something out of these 5 days, you're going to get so much more out of the 90 days. We're talking about feeling better about your physical body, being stronger in your ethics, your mind-body connection, feeling cleaner about your headspace, your input into the world, and taking control of your happiness. The results: 3 months to transition into the new year, 2 months of 2018 and 1 month of 2019. With support, more food ideas, self-development, and this whole accountability thing to make this whole thing stick and be successful. So the sign up and you get lifetime access. It's going to happen inside of a place called Teachable. It's this link here that we'll also post in the comments. You'll have a live link to it. It's called the 90-Day Vegan Reboot. And so what it is, you know what? I'm going to have to plug in my computer right now. We're going upstairs. Monty, you have to get off of me, buddy. I know you don't like that. All right, we're going upstairs. My battery's low. We didn't expect this. Okay, so the total value is if you hired a health coach and you went about this, to try and do some kind of official program like this, it could be every bit of $500. This program is $150 for the 3 months, or $50 a month, whatever is easier, and some bonuses I wanted to throw in. So one of them is a shopping list each week, a cheat sheet of everyday items you didn't know were vegan, and then veganizing in ordinary restaurants. Okay, so a few bonuses that will be coming out over the course. Some of the benefits of all of this: enjoying cooking more, being more relaxed in the kitchen and in your eating habits, generally nourishing your body, weight loss, and immunity. Let food be thy medicine, Hippocrates. The secret vegan sauce to all of this: accountability, community, and inspiration. I want to really take this to the next level when it comes to community action, and I have a few ways to do that. Once you guys come on over. I hope you do. And I really, it's my intention to make this very powerful and really help this whole thing stick. I also want to mention that there is a 14-day total money-back guarantee. I want to make sure that everybody is happy and more than getting their money's worth out of all of this. And I will be here for you guys 100% with any questions or any concerns. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you so much, regardless of the 90-day program, regardless of anything in this challenge. I just want to thank you for caring about eating this way, for your willingness to go against the grain and be a little different and be a little vulnerable out there, and for being awesome. I hope you will join us for this next leg of the adventure, and I'm so impressed by you, and I thank you so, so much.